If a woman wants to succeed in business, does she have to act like a man? You can make it big in business and still allow yourself to be a woman, especially if you use your savvy.
Savvy, the magazine you use to make business work for you. Use your savvy to learn what to do when you're smarter than your boss. The wrong way to write your resume. The right way to quit your job when an office romance can lead to profit or loss. How to throw a great dinner party an hour after you get home.
Subscribe now. Get 1 year, 12 Savvy issues for only $11.97, more than 50% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-338-4300.
As a free gift, this extraordinary 60-page handbook, Winning Strategies for the Woman Manager.
Read Savvy for just 1 year. If you don't get a promotion in that very same year, we'll refund your money. You can't lose. So call for Savvy now.
1-800-338-4300. 1-800-338-4300.
Cheese, glorious cheese.
So sumptuous and luscious.
Cheese, marvelous cheese.
Makes everything scrumptious.
For exciting new ways to make your meals sing, come on into your grocer's today. Get new cheese ideas and a great variety of real cheeses that'll get you cooking.
Glorious cheese.
Make your meals sing with real cheese.
When babies teed, their little mouths go through big pains. Stop it with new Baby Ambisol because it gives temporary relief on contact. With just one touch of new Baby Ambisol, teething pain is gone. New alcohol-free Baby Ambisol.
You can see a different movie 3 times a day, every weekday at 4 and 11 p.m. Eastern, and now at 9 a.m. Eastern weekday mornings. Take a break, the Lifetime Movie Break. She's an anthropologist on a mission.
I'm looking for Dr. Esslinger.
With a little friendly persuasion, he's going to help.
That's nice.
And boy, does she need it.
What are we going to do?
Run like hell.
Deborah Raffin. And Peter Fonda star in The Dance of the Dwarfs. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern here on Lifetime.
This Lifetime Minute is brought to you by Prel.
There are 2 magic words in makeup that can do wonders to bring out the best in your face. In just a moment, I'm going to tell you what they are.
Okay, into the showers. Let's build body with the Prel 1-2. The conditioner's new.
1, shampoo in, body in, fullness in.
Prel body.
2,
New Prel protein-enriched conditioner.
conditioner in, protein in, condition in, control in.
That's Prel body.
Full body shampoo.
And new Prel conditioner. It's my bodybuilding system for hair.
Your face structure and definition are highlighting and shading. Using a lighter base or cover-up and a damp sponge, apply a highlight under the eyes, on the bridge of the nose, over the smile lines between the mouth and the nose, under the chin, on the bones of the forehead, on the eyelids, and above the cheekbones. With a darker color and a damp sponge, apply shading to the hollows beneath the cheekbone, the tip of the nose, the other cheekbone, on the jaw to narrow it, a subtle shadow on the inside corner of each eye. Then blend both the highlighting and the shading with makeup base, and you've got bone structure, the basis of all beautiful faces.
Tomorrow on Lifetime.
Comedian Harry Shearer is my very special guest on the Dr. Ruth Show right here on Lifetime.
And now, Life Tips for a Lifetime with Joseph Benting.
36 million of us have some kind of disability, and many of us lead active and productive lives despite that. But often they run into barriers that are put up by the opinions others have of them. Robert Dean has a report on what's being done to change the often stereotyped image of the disabled in film and on television.
His name is Les Janke, handicapped since birth. He spends most of his time in a wheelchair, but Les Janke gets around. He's an actor, one of the first and chosen few to appear regularly on a prime-time network show. He plays Gucci on the ABC series Tales of the Gold Monkey. That's Les getting in a few licks in a barroom brawl. But it wasn't always like this. Until recently, the handicapped were rarely seen in movies or on TV programs.
Growing up as a little boy in Tennessee, I never had anyone to look at. I never had anyone in magazines, films, TV to learn about, hey, what could I be? What could I grow up and become? The answer was nothing. You know, and sure, in maybe a few novels and a few special situations, the subject was addressed, but only recently has it been possible for someone to turn on their television set or look at a feature film and see even a guy making a cross in a wheelchair or a cross on braces and crutches, or someone there with any kind of something that was different, that wasn't your perfect looking actor or actress.
Yet what little attention Hollywood has paid to the disabled is usually in the form of exaggerated stereotypes.
The stereotype is the handicapped person needs to be shown always as overcoming its handicap. It's the handicapped person doing that which is great, climbing a mountain, downhill skiing. I could go through just a litany of Hollywood themes with handicapped people, and always at the end it's the handicapped person becomes great. Well, how many people become great?
And for the 36 million handicapped people in this country, it's this kind of Hollywood stereotype that can feed public misconceptions and set aside those with disabilities from the rest of society. In reality, many handicapped people are ably employed, contributing and active members of their community. Yet the entertainment industry rarely shows this typical side, and sadly, society's attitudes toward them are often colored and influenced by the illusions projected on stage and screen.
They do create images that we hold and images that we act upon, and the less experience we actually have with the event or the person or whoever it is who's being portrayed on television or in film, the more likely we are to use what television says or what the film says as our main idea.
How dare you! How dare you attack the body!
This is the Disabled Persons Showcase in Hollywood, a theatrical program put on for TV and movie executives. It's designed to strictly showcase talent unaffected yet perhaps overshadowed by the performer's handicap, at least in the eyes of producers and the public.
When I became injured, I was more afraid of the social ostracism of being disabled than I was of not walking. And I think that came from the images that disabled people have in movies and in television.
But the entertainment industry is slowly making an effort to incorporate the handicapped in screen roles, casting them as characters who just happen to have disabilities. In fact, in the last 8 months, well over 100 disabled performers have been cast in various TV shows.
What we'd like to see happen is that disability become incidental. And in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of thematic disability programming, which is important to introduce people to disability. What we'd like to see and move the industry towards is that roles that feature performers with disabilities just be roles that they'd fill in life: secretaries, doctors, lovers, teachers.
In fact, that's all actors like Les Janke are really asking. That plus an equal opportunity to make a living at a profession they are qualified for.
But handicapped people can be heavies. We can be bad guys. We can be good guys. We can be all kinds of people, because in real life we are. We're just people.
May be true, but kind of idealistic when you look at the world as it is portrayed by our entertainment media. The truth is, we don't often see people with disabilities anywhere in movies or television shows, not even in those big crowd shots. They just don't exist for the motion picture industry and for television. But men and women like actor Alan Toy do exist, and they do want to work in their craft. So far, Alan has appeared in MASH, WKRP in Cincinnati, Simon & Simon, and as he will quickly point out, many others. Alan, why has it taken so long, and why is it seemingly so minuscule, the appearance of people with disabilities in film and on television?
Well, there's still a lot of things you have to overcome. For example, there's still not a great talent pool available. There are maybe 100 actors that are in the Screen Actors Guild who have visible disabilities, and that's a pretty poor percentage of the total membership of the Guild. But that's one reason. There's still some people who feel that they can only put us in when it's thematic. when the whole story is around the issue of disability. I don't know, it's changing a little bit, but it's still very slow.
What is it, very briefly, that we can do, viewers, to change it? Because it seems that nothing else is going to change it.
Well, the most responsive action that a viewer can take is to write a letter. If you see someone with a disability portrayed in a manner that you like, please write in. If you see something you don't like, please write in. It's important, though, a lot of people won't write unless it's something they hate, and if you see something that's good, that's just as important to stroke the networks for doing that. Other than that, I don't know. It's changing, as I say, but it's very slow, and it's still something that will creep along. I hope it doesn't become a fad of the year, so to speak, and go back down to nothing.
We'll look forward to seeing you in your next series.
I hope so. Thank you.
Her name is Deborah. Her age is 16. She lives here, but her allegiance is to the world of her fantasies.
I don't belong to you. I don't belong to anybody in this world.
I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, the monumental best-selling novel of a young girl's journey from madness to sanity, is now a triumphant new film. Brilliant young actress Kathleen Quinlan is Deborah.
Deborah, you can trust me. I won't betray you.
Bibi Andersson is Dr. Freed, the one person who stands between Deborah and destruction.
I tried to recognize it and come to terms with it.
What if I'm not strong enough to do that?
You are strong enough.
You can turn me off, you know. You can go off with your friends and write another paper on schizophrenia and get an award for it. But I can't turn me off. Can you promise? You talk to me about getting well and coming back to reality. What good is your reality if it doesn't do anything about people like Hobbs?
I never promised you a rose garden.
I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. The book is now the motion picture.
And now, Life Tips for a Lifetime with Joseph Benty.
Every year, at least 1 million Americans die of heart disease. It's the nation's #1 cause of death. Now, to keep your heart healthy, you should know by now that you give up smoking, lose excess weight, and, of course, get into an exercise routine. Many of us now are running, swimming, and even dancing to stay in shape. Robert Dean gives us a look at the pros and the cons of aerobic exercising.
Aerobics, a catchword for the 1980s that most of us associate with fitness and well-being. And indeed, that's true to an extent.
By definition, aerobic means continuous exercise, working the heart, lungs, and limbs. Jogging, of course, is one example. Bicycle riding, swimming, even fast walking are other examples. Now, when you do this kind of exercise, there are several things that happen within the body.
The heart pumps blood at an increased rate into the lungs, where oxygen is taken into the red blood cells. The lungs then pump this oxygen-charged blood back to the muscles.
Now, at the muscles, the oxygen is used to help produce energy. It's part of the energy transport system. So the more oxygen you can pump through your body and get down to the muscular level and actually use, the more effective you are, the more endurance you have. And this is what aerobics means.
And while this sequence of physiological events has proven to reduce the chances of heart disease, weight, cholesterol, and blood pressure levels, the old adage, more is better, doesn't necessarily apply. Specifically, there is a point of diminishing return when it comes to some aerobic exercises, especially running.
The runner who's been running a long time, as his fitness level gets better,
it comes to a fine edge where he's so fit that if he goes much harder, he's going to go over into the area whereby he's going to be injured all the time. And this is where it comes down to knowing your body, where that fine edge is.
So then how much is too much? Well, for most of us, aerobic exercise begins to pay off when we work out for at least 20 to 30 minutes every other day. Each session, though, must be intense enough to push your pulse between 70 and 85% of its maximum rate. Staying within this range is one good way of playing it safe. Yet as you get in better condition, it will take more exercise to maintain your pulse. And this is where some people overdo by simply working out too much. Research shows that people burning off 2,000 calories or more a week have an increased chance of injury. Specifically, those who exercise more than 5 times a week are tripling their chances of hurting themselves. And increasing exercise sessions from 30 minutes to 45 minutes doubles the risk. For women especially who run over 20 miles a week, menstrual irregularities are more common. Doctors think this is because body fat drops below critical levels, leading to a drop in estrogen production. And low estrogen levels are linked to bone degeneration. But of course, these statistics are general and vary widely depending upon the individual's condition.
What is aerobic exercise for one person is not for another. And what I mean is someone who's young and athletic might have to go out and run or bicycle at a very fast pace to get an exercise benefit out of this. An older person who's deconditioned might find that they can take a slow walk or bicycle very slowly, and that will give them training effect. And as long as there's no contraindication to exercise for these people, there's no reason why they shouldn't.
Dr. John Schroeder is a heart specialist at the Stanford Medical Center in Palo Alto, California. I asked him if there are any risks in aerobic exercising, and if we are fooling ourselves by thinking that the exercises can prevent heart disease.
The point I would make is aerobics, or even exercise in general, is probably not a way to prevent heart disease or to decrease your chances of heart disease significantly. And that's because the 3 big risk factors related to heart disease are still smoking, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol or your diet. And it's pretty hard to say that you can exercise and ever cancel out those. I think those are still the big 3. Exercise, still the focus should be for you alone and to help you feel better.
Dr. Schroeder, with all of the publicity that aerobic exercising gets, mainly through television, one would get the impression that we should all be doing aerobics. Would you agree with that?
Well, certainly not everyone, but I think aerobics is perhaps a more fun way to exercise, and it is a way to keep people feeling good. And so in that regard, I think it can be recommended for people who want to feel better about their bodies and improve their cardiovascular conditioning.
You said not everyone. Who are those who should not be doing aerobic exercising?
Well, there's certain groups who either should not do it or should take certain precautions before they enter into a very active aerobics program. And maybe the best way to think about it would be, first of all, there's groups that can probably jump right in. Those would be young, healthy people, perhaps anyone that's under the age of 40 who has not had any known cardiac problem or does not have risk factors for heart disease. I would say go ahead. Start slow and build up, but certainly go ahead. Then I might say that there's a second group who might have some problems. These are people who have high blood pressure, who have what we call risk factors for heart disease. They're overweight, they're heavy smokers, they have a strong family history of heart disease, or simply they're over the age of 40 or 45. I think most cardiologists now would recommend that that group be evaluated by their physician before they start a very active exercise program.
Are there any risks that face so-called healthy people if they're doing aerobic exercises?
Unfortunately, particularly in America, the problem of this cholesterol blockage in the coronary arteries that feed the heart is a very slow process that starts in the 20s or 30s and gradually builds up over many years. Unfortunately, it's silent until it gets very severe. And so that really anyone, all of us have some degree of blockage. And unfortunately, we do not have an easy way to see how severe the blockage is. So there is a tiny chance of having a severe complication or dying suddenly during heavy exertion. To minimize that chance, then try to pay attention to your body, gradually increase your exercise, be moderate and sensible, and try to do it on a regular basis rather than sporadically or episodically. And finally, listen to your body when something seems to be going wrong. Pay attention to it, or see your physician so you can be screened to make sure it's nothing serious.
Tomorrow on Nurse, Mary is torn between the rights of her staff and the needs of her patients. Michael Learned stars in Nurse, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
The New Yorker, if it were like any other magazine, it couldn't possibly look like this. Now, wouldn't that be a shame? You see, week after week, the New Yorker publishes the best fact, fiction, humor, criticism, poetry, ideas, and entertainment guide in America. It's been called the best magazine in the world, probably the best magazine that ever was. See if you agree. Call this number and get 26 weekly issues of the New Yorker for just $16. That's $23 less than the cover price. Call now and you'll also receive this reproduction of the very first New Yorker, published in 1925. This collector's copy is free with your paid subscription if you act now. Call 1-800-338-4300. That's 1-800-338-4300 for 26 weekly issues of the best magazine in the world. Yes, the New Yorker.
Tomorrow on Lifetime.
Comedian Harry Shearer is my very special guest on the Dr. Ruth Show right here on Lifetime.
Do you know there's a magazine devoted entirely to cats? If you're one of the 16 million Americans who share their homes with one or more of these charming, mysterious creatures, you should know about Cat Fancy. Every month, Cat Fancy devotes a special feature to a different pure breed of cat. But we never forget the popular domestic variety. Each and every month, we answer countless questions about declawing, neutering, whether or not it's healthy to keep your cats indoors. We even delight you every month with our own Cat Fancy Centerfold. And right now, you can get a full year subscription to Cat Fancy magazine for the special half-price introductory offer of only $11.97. That's more than 50% off the newsstand price. So if we've tickled your cat fancy, here's all you do.
Just phone toll-free, 1-800-338-4300, or send $11.97 to Cat Fancy, Box 1887, Atlanta, Georgia. Call 1-800-338-4300. MasterCard and Visa charges accepted.
Do you dream of being independently wealthy, enjoying the good life, traveling to exotic places, living in a luxurious home? If these are things you'd like to do, you need to be a part of Everybody's Money Matters. Live from Hollywood, welcome to Everybody's Money Matters, the Tony and Bob Show, starring America's foremost expert in real estate, Tony Hoffman, and yours truly, Bob Braun. And tonight, our special guest is hypnotherapist Danielle Durant. And tonight, substituting for Tony Hoffman is Mr. Forecloser himself. Here's Hal Morris.
Good evening, Bob.
Good evening, Hal. Welcome to the Tony and Bob Show.
Well, I am excited to be here because I know we have a fascinating show online.
Well, Tony has business out of town and couldn't be here tonight. And again, tomorrow night you're going to be here as well. And so I think it's nice that he invited you to come on. You and he are very good friends, but also two of the best real estate men in America.
Well, we love talking about money, but tonight we're going to talk about some things even more important than money.
And that would be what, Mr. Morris?
Sex.
I just wanted to hear it come out of your mouth.
You didn't
I don't
think
know
I
why.
would say it.
I didn't think you'd say that. Danielle Durant has been on with me every morning on the Hoffman Collection Special Edition here on Lifetime Network. And we've had such a good time talking about the mental bank concept and her seminar, which she does. Well, you're on the program. She and you are on together sometimes. And we've had such a good time. I'm glad she's here tonight. But she kind of blew me away when it came time to talk about the one aspect of the mental bank concept, and that is how you forget things, like maybe forget to put your microphone on the time. No, what she did, she surprised me, really, because in her course, in the past we've talked about it affecting relationships, but now she's talking about those relationships in depth. We're going to find out exactly what kind of a person you are romantically.
Well, what I find fascinating is that Danielle is helping people not just improve relationships, but also in making money. I was in New Orleans emceeing the Fortune Builder Award program, and the lady who was getting Fortune Builder of the Year award, I said, what was the turning point for you? And she said, 1 year ago, Danielle Durant's mental bank. And I think you're hearing it too from people all over the country.
Well, like Florence Henderson, who was on the show here with her a couple of times. Florence, who's been tremendously successful in show business, and outwardly, a lot of us thought, boy, the lady has everything in the world. Inwardly, she had such stress and anxiety, never really knew who she was, and was really totally unhappy with relationships and everything else. She got with the program of the mental bank concept as put together by Dr. John